You have no business sense, Dad declared over Sunday brunch, not for the first time. Look at Sarah here. Already a senior VP at Morgan Stanley at 28. Meanwhile, you're still playing with your little tech startup. My sister Sarah preened at the praise, adjusting her Rolex, a gift from her last bonus. I picked at my eggs Benedict, hiding my amusement. If only they knew that my little tech startup, Nova Digital, had just closed a $4 billion acquisition deal. The tech bubble will burst, Mom added, sipping her mimosa. You should take that junior analyst position Sarah offered you. At least it's stable. I thought of the acquisition papers sitting in my office, showing Nova Digital's purchase of Morgan Stanley's entire digital division, including Sarah's department. The deal would be announced tomorrow morning. Actually, I started, but Sarah cut me off. Speaking of work, we're meeting with our biggest client tomorrow. Daddy, you should come, show them how a real businessman handles things. Dad, who ran a modest consulting firm that was now secretly owned by one of my shell companies, puffed up with pride. Perhaps I will. Show these young hotshots how it's done. Who's the client? I asked innocently, though I already knew. Nova Digital, Sarah said smugly. Some tech company that's been buying up financial firms. Probably some nerds who got lucky with Bitcoin. I almost choked on my coffee. Nova Digital, my company, had become a major player in financial technology, quietly acquiring traditional firms and modernizing their operations. Morgan Stanley's digital division was just the latest target. They're sending their CEO tomorrow, Sarah continued. Probably some socially awkward tech bro who needs hand-holding through basic finance. If she only knew that the tech bro was her sister, who'd built a $50 billion company while they thought I was playing startup. Well, Mom patted Sarah's hand, not everyone can have your business acumen, dear. Some people, she glanced at me, are better suited for smaller ventures. I thought about my office, the entire top floor of Nova Tower with its view of the city skyline. About my executive team, waiting for tomorrow's announcement. About the look that would be on Sarah's face when she realized who her new boss was. How's the consulting business, Dad? I asked, changing the subject. Fantastic. Just landed 3 new clients last week. He didn't mention that those clients had been directed to him by my company, part of our quiet takeover strategy. And your little startup? Sarah smirked. Still working out of that co-working space. Actually, I owned the co-working space. And the building it was in. And most of the block. Getting by, I said vaguely. Speaking of work, I should go. Have a big meeting tomorrow. Barista interview? Sarah suggested with a laugh. Something like that. I gathered my things, checking my cheap watch. Actually a $100,000 Patek Philippe disguised as a Timex. Take the analyst job, Mom called after me. Before your startup fails and you have nothing. In my Bentley, carefully parked around the corner, I changed into my CEO outfit. Armani suit, Louboutins, actual Rolex. My phone buzzed with updates about tomorrow's announcement. Ms. Nova, my assistant texted, merger documents are signed. Press release scheduled for 9 a.m. Perfect timing. Sarah's big client meeting was at 10. Your father confirmed his attendance at the Morgan Stanley meeting, another message read. Even better. They'd all be there to witness their carefully constructed hierarchy crumble. Is the presentation ready? I texted back. Yes. Opening slide shows Nova Digital's full portfolio, including their consulting firm. I smiled, thinking of tomorrow's reveal. 4 years, they'd dismissed my business abilities, treated me like a naive dreamer playing at entrepreneurship. Tomorrow they'd learn what real business acumen looked like. And I had front row seats to the show. Monday morning, 9:45 a.m. I stood in the private elevator of Morgan Stanley's headquarters, watching my reflection in the polished doors. Every detail was perfect, from my power suit to the subtle Nova Digital logo pin on my lapel. Beside me, my CFO Michael Chen reviewed the morning's events. Stocks up 30% since the announcement, he reported. Your sister's been calling her broker nonstop since 9 a.m. And my father? Arrived early for the meeting. He's been regaling everyone with stories about his business expertise. Michael smirked. Should we tell him his consulting firm has belonged to us for 6 months? Let's save that surprise for the presentation. The elevator opened onto the executive floor. Through glass walls I could see the meeting room filled with Morgan Stanley's top brass. Sarah stood at the front, practicing her pitch. Dad sat in a prime position, already commanding attention with his usual bluster. "They've prepared quite a show," Michael noted, checking his tablet. "Your sister's presentation promises to guide the inexperienced tech company through proper financial management." I straightened my jacket. Time to show them what inexperience looks like. The room fell silent as we entered. Sarah's practiced smile faltered slightly. She'd been expecting a man in jeans and a hoodie, not a power-suited woman who radiated authority. "Welcome to Morgan Stanley," she recovered quickly. "I'm Sarah Mitchell, Senior VP of Digital Operations. And you are?" "Alexandra Nova," I replied, watching their faces. "CEO of Nova Digital." Dad's eyebrows shot up at my last name, the one I'd taken when I founded the company. "Nova? Any relation to?" "Let's begin," I cut him off, taking my seat at the head of the table. "I believe you have a presentation for us." Sarah launched into her carefully prepared pitch, full of condescending explanations about basic financial concepts. I let her continue for 10 minutes before raising my hand. "Ms. Mitchell," I interrupted, "this is fascinating, but perhaps we should discuss the actual purpose of this meeting." "Of course," she smiled patronizingly. "We can slow down if the technical terms are confusing." "Oh, they're not." I nodded to Michael, who activated the room's display screens. "But since the acquisition was announced an hour ago, this seems redundant." The room froze as headlines appeared on every screen. Nova Digital acquires Morgan Stanley Digital Division. Tech giant continues financial sector takeover. Wall Street shaken by Nova's latest move. Sarah's presentation clicker slipped from her hand. What acquisition?" "The one that makes me your new boss," I replied calmly. "Effective immediately." Dad stood up so quickly his chair toppled. "Alexandra, what is this?" "This," I pulled up more slides, "is business. The kind you said I didn't understand." The screens filled with data. Nova Digital's portfolio, market capitalization, global reach. My father's consulting firm appeared in one corner of the corporate structure chart. That's my company," he stammered. "Was your company," I corrected. "Nova Solutions acquired it 6 months ago through a shell corporation. Those 3 new clients last week? They came from us." Sarah had finally found her voice. But you're just a startup founder." "Actually," Michael interjected, "Ms. Nova founded one of the largest tech conglomerates in the world. Your digital division is our 7th acquisition this year." The room erupted in whispers as my family's carefully constructed reality crumbled. Sarah's designer handbag, symbol of her supposed superior success, suddenly looked cheap compared to my subtle wealth. "Now," I continued, "let's discuss the actual restructuring." "Michael." He distributed folders containing the new organizational chart. Sarah's position was notably absent. "You're firing me," she whispered. "Offering you a different opportunity," I corrected. "Junior analyst in our Singapore office. You said I should take that position. Now you can show me what I missed." Dad flipped through the papers frantically. "My consulting contracts." "Will be honored," I assured him. "Under new management. Starting with a complete audit of your client relationships." "You can't do this," Sarah protested. "Daddy, tell her she can't." "Actually, she can," Michael interrupted. "Ms. Nova owns controlling interest in both companies now. The papers were signed last week." I stood, smoothing my jacket. "We'll give you time to review the documents. HR will be in touch about transition packages and new roles." I paused at the door. "Oh, and Sarah? That Rolex you love showing off. What about it?" "I own the company that makes them now too." I displayed my own watch, no longer disguised as a Timex. Meeting adjourned. In the elevator, Michael reviewed the aftermath on his tablet. "Your sister's already called her lawyer. Your father's trying to access the consulting firm's accounts, which were frozen an hour ago. And my mother? Still at her country club lunch. Should I tell her she's about to lose her membership? The club belongs to our hospitality division now." I smiled, thinking of all those Sunday brunches where they dismissed my business acumen. Let her enjoy one last meal there. Reality will hit soon enough. 1 month later, I sat in my office at Nova Tower, reviewing the fallout from what business media had dubbed the Morgan Stanley massacre. The Wall Street Journal's headlines still made me smile. Tech prodigy's family drama reshapes financial sector. Ms. Nova, my assistant buzzed, your mother's in the lobby. Again. 8th time this week, Michael noted, not looking up from his reports. Should I have security? No, send her up. I turned to the floor-to-ceiling windows. Time to finish this. Mom looked different without her usual designer armor. The country club tan had faded, the professionally highlighted hair showed roots, and her casual outfit probably cost less than my desk pen. Alexandra, she started, then faltered at the sight of my office. The view, the obvious power, the quiet wealth she'd never noticed before. We need to talk. About. I gestured to a chair worth more than her car. Your sister. She's considering the Singapore position. Good. She starts at entry level. No shortcuts. But her experience. Got her fired from 3 interviews last week. I finished. Amazing how quickly doors close when you can't actually back up your boasting. Mom's hands twisted in her lap. And your father is under investigation by our audit team. Seems his business expertise included some creative accounting. He was protecting the family name. No, I turned back to her. He was committing fraud. The only reason he's not facing charges is because I buried the evidence. She slumped slightly. The country club board voted you out last week. I know. I own the club now. Why are you doing this? Her voice cracked. We're family. Family. I pulled up old emails on my screen. Like when you told the bank not to fund my first startup. Or when Sarah sabotaged my job interviews so I'd learn my place. We were trying to protect you. No, you were protecting your hierarchy. Your perfect family image where Sarah was the business star and I was the cautionary tale. My phone buzzed. Another update about Dad's consulting firm. The audit had uncovered years of hidden losses, covered up by inflated invoices and phantom clients. Your father needs help. Mom tried again. His reputation is exactly what he earned. I showed her the audit results. He spent years telling me I had no business sense while running his company into the ground. Consider this a lesson in irony. And Sarah, Singapore, is a chance to actually learn business, not just talk about it. I softened slightly. She has potential if she'll drop the entitled attitude. Mom stood, straightening her off-the-rack blazer. You've made your point. You're successful. We were wrong. Now can we go back to being a family? We can try, I agreed. But on new terms. Which are honesty, accountability. No more pretending to be something you're not. I pulled out a folder. Starting with this. She opened it, face paling at the contents. Her secret credit card debt, the mortgages she'd hidden from Dad, the loans against Sarah's trust fund. How did you? I own the banks now, remember? I sat back. You have 2 choices. Come clean to Dad about the family's real financial situation or I will. You wouldn't. Try me. I stood, power dynamics clear in our reflection on the windows. Sunday brunch 1 week. Bring the truth or I'll bring it for you. After she left, Michael returned with more updates. Sarah's accepted the Singapore position. Your father's agreed to the audit. And your mother just emptied her secret account. I finished, watching the transaction alert on my phone. Freeze her access to the others. Already done. He hesitated. The family estate. Foreclosure proceeds as planned. They can't afford it anyway, haven't been able to for years. I checked the time. What's next? Board meeting at 2. The Morgan Stanley integration team at 3. And your sister's farewell dinner. Cancel it. She needs to learn that private jets and 5-star restaurants aren't entry-level perks. Evening found me in my penthouse watching the city lights flicker on. My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Economy class to Singapore? Really? Welcome to actual business, I replied. First lesson, earn your luxuries. Another text from Dad. The audit team wants 10 years of records. Better start digging, I wrote back. Truth time, remember? Mom hadn't tried to contact me since her visit. Probably trying to figure out how to explain our family's smoke and mirrors finances to Dad. 2 decades of keeping up appearances with borrowed money and hidden debt. Ms. Nova, Pie House AI announced, your brother is here. Yes, Thomas. The middle child who'd stayed out of the business drama, choosing academia instead. The only one who'd ever supported my ambitions. Send him up. He entered my private elevator still in his professor's tweeds, carrying a bottle of champagne. Heard about Mom's visit. Thought you might need this. Join me. I gestured to the balcony. We stood in comfortable silence watching the city, so much of which I now owned. They'll never forgive you, he finally said. I know. But they might learn from this. I sipped my champagne. That's the hope. Sarah called me, he continued. Actually asked about Singapore's tech startup scene. Seemed genuinely interested. Good. She has talent if she'll work for it. And Dad will learn about honest business or retire in disgrace. His choice. Thomas nodded slowly. Mom's afraid you'll expose everything. I will if she doesn't. No more facades. The family name needs reality more than reputation. I turned to face him. You never bought into their act. Why? He shrugged. Saw through it, I guess. Like you did. Just chose to walk away instead of conquering their world. And now. He clinked his glass against mine. Now I get to watch my brilliant sister teach them all what real business looks like. My phone buzzed again. Sarah complaining about her economy ticket. Dad panicking about audit records. Mom probably discovering another frozen account. I silenced the notifications. They'd figure it out eventually. Success built on substance, not show. Business built on skill, not swagger. Family built on truth, not pretense. And if they didn't? Well, I own their world now. Lesson learned. A week later at Sunday brunch, now held in my penthouse, the new reality settled in. Sarah Skyped from her tiny Singapore apartment, humbled but actually learning. Dad reviewed audit reports, finally facing facts instead of spinning them. Mom sat quietly, her fashion magazines replaced by financial literacy books. Thomas graded papers in the corner, occasionally shooting me knowing smiles. The family facade had crumbled, but something real was emerging from the ruins. Alexandra, Mom ventured, I found those credit counseling sessions you recommended helpful. Progress one small truth at a time. The future? Yet to be written. But at least now they were reading the right book. And I had written it.